Hello everyone, Jacqueline Jax here. Welcome back. I'm going to be doing another tutorial from our Amberfields watercolor palette. This was the last one that we did from this beautiful palette. This is one of the subscription palettes. If there are any subscription palettes left and you're not a subscriber, that means that you're not receiving these in the mail at your doorstep every month. Any leftover palettes that we might have would be available at Jax Watercolor, so you can go and check those out. All of the watercolor I'm using today is handmade, and it is beautiful, highly pigmented. We've got 100% cotton paper here. These are the ACEO cards. They come in sets of 12 with these little covers, and they are 100% cotton cold press, 300 GSM. And beautiful, beautiful weight front and back. So you can also pick these up on the website at Jax Watercolor. Love them. And this paper also comes in the 5x7 sheets as well. So the colors I'm going to be using for this little kind of abstract fall floral are terracotta, golden ochre, olive metallic, and blue horizon. Should be a really neat mix of colors. We're going to do it in this fun little area here. And you can use the handmade botanical watercolor brush. If you bought one of these at the website, you can use a pointed round. I prefer the longer points. You can use a flat angular shader, any of these, or you can use the Portman dagger brush is also a great one if you have those. So it just depends. I'll probably be using the Portman dagger brush in the size 4 and the custom watercolor botanical brush from Jax Watercolor. This one's cute. I like it. I like it for a lot of things. So easily re-wet the watercolor. I usually keep mine dry. You guys are asking how I store them, and I have these tins available on the website. I think currently they are in pink, which is really cute. If you order a lot of watercolor, you usually get a tin like that. So it just depends on the time of year. But they are very, very handy because they're a couple of inches deep, so they hold the watercolor. I let mine dry out just so that I don't have to refrigerate, because sometimes it can be, a little warm in the house, and depending on the time of year, you don't want your wet media, if you have a wet palette or anything wet in art, to mold, right? Or give you any trouble. So that's how I keep it out of trouble. So I'm going to start with the golden ochre, and I'm going to use it directly out of here. As you notice, I love a messy palette, so don't mind me. I usually work that way. I think it's just so much fun and easy because I come up with a lot of different colors this way. So I tend to have a lot of, I don't know, sometimes it gets dusty. Even though I'm vacuuming all the time. All right, so anyway, so I'm going to use this to make some abstract flowers, right? We don't have a lot of space, so let's just kind of use our dagger brush just to get down a few things. And I'm going to put a little paper towel or piece of tissue underneath this because I like to paint off of my canvases. I just find that it just looks really cool, and I don't like people feeling like they have to conform their shape within something like that. You know what I mean? So we're just kind of like giving it some shape, establishing where we want maybe 2 of these leaves, or 2 of these, I'm gonna add some water, 2 of these lovely flowers, and keeping it really, really loose. And the bigger the brush for the size that you have, the better. So if I were using a little tiny brush, this wouldn't work out as well. Now I'm going to give it a spray to loosen it up. So we take our spray bottle, this is one of my favorites, and just hit it. 100% watercolor cotton, just no big deal. If you feel that you've oversprayed or it's too much for you to handle, right? I like it when it gets drippy. I think it's fun, but on occasion, sometimes you can either tap it down and let it kind of right up or down the paper. You can go on the side. You can even flip it over and see how that works. You know, drop it right on the tissue and let it blot. That's kind of cool. Lots of different things you can do because it's watercolor. So you like you know, all bets are off. You can do whatever you want with watercolor. I'm just going to keep it like this because I want to be in control of it. Also, let me just tell you, if your watercolor paper, this is very thick paper, by the way, if it buckles even a little bit, just go ahead and spray the back and it will straighten out. Just a little tip for you to control paper that you don't want to, I don't really tie my paper down that much. So you can see I still have this nice loose area to start with, but at the same time, it's got a lot of stuff I can play with, right? So I'm gonna dip my brush into the horizon, the blue horizon, and start working with it in my palette with a little bit of water. And probably just kind of give ourselves a little texture through the background, just keeping the light in there. In some of these areas, I do want to encourage some green, so probably in the centers where it's wet and damp. And we can even do some of these like leafy shapes. Maybe we'll go down here and encourage there to be some kind of like a loose vase, you know, like just take a little bit and just sketch it in. Just like that. Simple, simple. And let's see how that goes. I love how it like mixes, right? And I'm just kind of diving into the watercolor directly because it's nice and moist now, and going through and just adding some spots, some mark making with my lovely dagger brush. I want some just little areas of this beautiful blue horizon color. I think it's really, really pretty. I want some areas where it has mixed in to the center of our flowers, but I also want areas where it's standing on its own and just giving you that, you know, that loveliness. Now, in areas where it's already drying, it's going to be less explosive. In areas where it's really wet, it's going to explode out. So you're going to have a mix, right? Because we sprayed it. So it's real random. If I would have wet this with a brush, what would have happened is it wouldn't be so random. It would be more of an even coating of water, and I don't really want that. I want kind of like this randomness here going on, like this bleeding here, I think is lovely. I want some of these areas to be a little darker, a little more sketchy, right? Because I think that's the fun of something like this. And in this area here, we're just kind of evolving some of these. And then some of these areas we can actually go back in and add some texture right over the color, like color over color. Because when you hit it with water, of course, it's not always going to be the same. Now let's dip into our other color here. This is our terracotta. This was renamed. When it was first made, it was autumn orange. So those of you looking for autumn orange, so sorry about that. I forgot to tell you that I had renamed it, because we actually like kind of name these things together. And when we do, I always let you guys participate, and then, you know, maybe we'll change the name and then I'll forget and not realize that somewhere along the line I just hit that with some water just to explode it down, because I really love just seeing that texture in there. I love the color being there. But when I do rename, if I do rename, it's usually based on somebody's suggestion, and if I think it's just a better fit. As much as I like autumn orange, I feel like terracotta is more like you don't just use this in autumn, right? And I think that that's really what I was thinking when I renamed it, is I just didn't want people to feel like this was just an autumn color, because it's really not. It's really quite lovely. So I'm going in and I'm gonna just kind of add some terracotta to some of my petals, and we're gonna do more with this later. And here I'm gonna take my terracotta and I'm going to sketch in some petals. Now notice I'm sketching it in some areas outside of the leaves and just kind of making it bigger than it actually is. Now you can do this step with the gold, you can do this step with anything. It's mark making. And you know, like in art school, they kind of like go through this a lot in art school and tell you about mark making and how it kind of adds a level to your art, like a layer of interest onto loose watercolor or anything. You can do it with acrylics, oils, mark making in art. And it's basically, you know, whatever is in your hand, you're making some marks. I'm kind of using it as a sketch just because I really, so pretty, look. So I just put dashes of color, right? We're gonna need something here. So I think we should mix two colors together. So let's go ahead and mix the yellow, and I think I'm gonna put it in where the gold was here. And I'm gonna mix a little bit of my blue in there, kind of encourage this greeny kind of gold, right? And we're gonna come off of here with some more leaf shapes. Paint this underneath one so that it sets back a little bit. Now, I noticed that in this kind of thing, you might not want to go too over the top with making marks everywhere, because you ultimately want to see some of it, right? And you don't want to like literally interpret the flowers for people. It's kind of fun if they get to do a little interpretation themselves. So I wouldn't be like, I have to make all of these look like flowers. I would kind of let this lie just like it is, you know, maybe add a little touch of the gold to it, which I'm doing now. I'm taking some of my favorite olive metallic. I'm just kind of going in there. And by the way, there are two olive metallics, just so you know. There is a Mystic Olive, which is more of a blue, like blue-gray undertone, and then there's olive metallic. So I have sent out both in watercolor kits before, and also sold them on the website. So if you have Mystic Olive, it is a little more blue, just so you know, and Olive Metallic is a little more green. Both are available in pans and also watercolor honey pots. So this is done. I love the way it looks. I'm gonna just kind of take some of my gold and then just maybe add a few little spots here and there, and then suck those up with some tissue just to create some little like areas. I want to leave a lot of that white, but again, this just adds texture, you know, and areas where it's already still wet, it's going to kind of bleed out, and that's fine because we want all that loveliness, you know, we want texture. And that's it. That's my Amberfields, another fun tutorial. Now, this being one of the ACEO trading cards, they're lovely because I actually include these in my my thank you cards sometimes to my clients, and I also, you can trade them with other artists. It's a great small representation of your work. So don't forget to sign it. Make sure you date the back and then add the number of how many of these you have made. So if this is number 3 or number 100, you just keep track and keep running on. I love keeping them aside. Like I said, I put them in as gifts and things for people, and they've gone over really, really well. Have a wonderful day, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. There are some Amberfield sets over on the website at Jack's Watercolor. So if you decide that you want to take part of this lovely set, it comes with these beautiful honey pot watercolors, which is a value of around $125. Then there are some printed material for inspiration. This lovely paper, you get 4 sheets of this paper in the non-subscribers one. In the subscribers, you get a full pack of paper and some extras. If you're outside of the US, the subscribers are getting beautiful brushes right now. And if you're in the US, unfortunately, we have to wait for the brushes until we are allowed to send them again, which is crazy. But I know that most of you have already gotten tons and tons of brushes from me, so we're okay there. We're just, you know, send lots and lots of paper for you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for following the tutorials. Have a great one.